right? Before they, like, really, like, get the hang of being, like, FBI.
You can sense them getting smarter.
I literally said, like, why not say, like, second or third cousins, you know? Like, just enough relatives that, like, your girlfriend's, like, not gonna meet them, but, like...
Yeah, and if there was such a huge age gap between your dad and your uncles, I feel like you would have mentioned that.
Yeah, I feel like also, like, it sounds like Amy and Troy have been a thing for, like, a while. Mm-hmm. Like, everybody... I think it was Amy's, like, one of Amy's, like, parents, or someone who knew Amy was one of the cops at the crime scene. And everyone else knew that Amy and Troy were dating. I mean, it seems like this is a small town, but, like, everybody knows that they're together. So it seems weird that, like, the whole town would know they're dating, but, like, she's never met his uncles before.
Yeah, literally.
I know it sounds like we're nitpicking, but, like, if you're going to, like, call someone, you gotta do it well.
You already pretended to be a federal marshal in this episode, so, like, maybe don't be dumb with your other covers.
Yeah.
Also, maybe stick with that.
Literally. People in small towns talk to each other. Maybe keep the story straight.
Yeah. They hear from these Amy and her, like, friend or whatever, that there's a local legend about a woman who was murdered on Centennial Highway, and now, like, anyone who stops and picks her up disappears and is presumably murdered.
Mm-hmm. They're just taken to Oz.
We don't know if there's a body in this case, or if any of the other cases have a body. Like, it seems like the other people were, like, disappeared this, but, like, Troy's car is just found, like, bloody. I don't think there's, like, a body. I mean, I think we can assume, based on the blood, that Troy's dead wherever he is, but...
I think, didn't we say it was, like, unnaturally clean, the car?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. Like, not a fingerprint or anything. So he's just like, he's just gone. He's missing. There's no nothing. It's just a car.
I know there's probably, like, ghost whatever involved, but I'm just imagining, like, the ghost with a bottle of Lysol and...
Yeah, I know. Like, we're gonna get Lysol wipes.
I love that.
Gotta quickly stash the car somewhere.
In the middle of the room.
There we go. That's perfect.
Perfectly spotless, but just in the middle of the room so no one misses it.
Yeah.
So then they're doing research. Sam's very controlling about doing the research, even though Dean's been working cases on his own for the last 4 years, presumably. 2 to 4 years at least.
But Sam still knows how to work the Google machine better. It's not Google yet, but you know what I mean. Whatever it was.
I wish that we had it like on Riverdale at supersleuth.com or something like that. I wish that Supernatural had that. Anyway, they find the story about Constance Welch, who died by suicide after her children drowned in the bathtub. Dean, later in this episode, jumps off the same exact bridge that Constance jumps off of and had not a single scratch on him.
Yeah, but
Constance
he's Dean.
and was killed.
Constance wanted to die.
Fair enough, I guess.
Dean has plot armor.
They have a better argument where Sam tells Dean that Jess doesn't know anything about hunting and he plans on settling down with her without telling her about any of it.
It's exactly the sort of, like, not really seeing the future kind of thing a 22-year-old would have.
Yeah.
I mean, fair enough, but, like, this isn't just, like, I'm not advocating not being honest with your partner. But this is, like, a thing that if you were ever not going to tell your partner something, this would probably be it.
Yeah, that's very true.
Like, I have no idea how he would tell her that, but it seems like at some point she's going to add up a few things and come to some conclusion.
Yeah, we don't really know what Jess, like, knows specifically about Sam and his family. Like, he's not close to his family, but he has a picture of his parents, like, on his, like, nightstand. Like, he doesn't, like, hate his family. Sam also reminds Dean that he was a literal baby when their mom died, and he doesn't remember their mom because he was 6 months old, and that he doesn't feel compelled to avenge her the same way that Dean and their dad do, which makes Dean angry.
So angry.
Mostly he's mad because Sam says that avenging her isn't going to bring her back, and, like, he's right.
He is right.
Like, this is still a better argument than the argument they're having over, like, being nice to cops and being jerks to cops, but, like, every time anyone mentions Mary for, like, a while in the show, like, it really elicits this reaction to Dean of, like, anger, and that, again, makes me concerned about John's parenting.
Yeah.
I have serious concerns about John Winchester as a parent.
Yeah, I don't think we have to search too hard for examples that he's, like, the actual worst.
Because, like, nothing in this episode is, like, explicitly John's a bad parent. I mean, Sam's just, like, our dad raised us warriors. That's not great. But, like, considering what they do for a living, I guess could be overlooked a little bit. Or, like, excused, I guess. But, like...
If you look at how, especially Dean acts, then it's very obvious that John is not a great parent.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
I Anyway, they see Constance fall from the bridge, and so they run to that spot.
Yeah.
Really, like, she already fell off the bridge, and also she's a ghost, and they know she's a ghost, so...
Yeah.
Running to
might as well see what she's ghosting.
Yeah, might as well see, like, what's going on. And then while they're standing there, the car starts itself. It tries to run them down on its own.
Or doesn't.
According to fandom.com, again, and the Supernatural Wiki, both of them were supposed to end up in the river, but there was some sort of issue/budget involving costuming, so they had to pick one of them to fall off the bridge.
Like, they couldn't have them both covered.
Yeah, they couldn't afford for both of them to be covered.
That is so interesting. That is so interesting.
I love that so much.
Blew the budget on Mary being on the ceiling.
That's right. We're pinching pennies here. Dean's the only one that ends up in the river.
I mean, unintentionally, it's very funny that Dean's covered in mud and Sam is enjoying life. It gets funnier, honestly, as the episode goes on.
Yeah, I feel like it was a good decision because Dean is kind of established to be the more comedic one right away.
Yeah. So then they go to a motel. I really like that the credit card name that was mentioned earlier, Hector and Bert Ephraimian, ended up like being like a meaningful thing. The motel manager says that Bert Ephraimian, which was the name we knew that John was on John's credit card, bought out one of the rooms for a whole month. So they go and check out that room, which is filled with newspaper clippings and generally looks like a hot mess. This is when the mud gets funnier because when they open the door to the room, Dean is standing with his back to the door and like his back to Sam, who's opening the door, and then Sam like goes in a few steps and then he grabs Dean and like yanks him inside like in the cartoon.
That's like my favorite parts of the whole episode.
If you look
freaking love that
really closely, Dean is just like so muddy and it's like starting to dry that there's a little dirt cloud where he was.
Yeah, I know, it's so good. I love that part.
One of the
so
things
much.
I love about part is that later in like the recaps, they use it as something that's kind of a bit scary, but then you actually watch it, it's actually hilarious.
I freaking love that. It's amazing.
John left this room in a hurry. Like a burger was like half eaten and open, but also given that we're about to learn the ghost specifically was after unfaithful men, John had a good reason to get the frick out. He was not going to survive at all. Like, just he was not going to survive this one. So yeah, he left with this food half eaten, which I think is a crime. Like, if you're gonna like leave your food, like just bring the food with you. If you're in that big of a hurry, like eat on the road, man.
Just have it in your hand.
Like where your hands are full.
Food is expensive.
Or wrap it up and put it in the garbage. Jeez.
What
That's like one extra second and like so much less gross. Sam finds this like woman in white connection that John did and tells Dean that it's a woman in white, but doesn't really fully explain what that is until later in the episode. So they plan to retrace John's steps, and Sam apologizes for the fight that he was correct about, where he said that he doesn't remember their mom and that avenging her won't bring her back to life, that he is fully correct about that part of the argument, but that's the part that he apologizes for.
Said it.
I think he should have.
I would agree.
I think it needed
Sam
to be said.
Right. And yeah, Dean needed to hear that, I think. Even though it made him like really mad.
Yeah.
It's something that is true.
I think Dean was irrationally angry about it.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a lot of like unresolved
anger. Yeah.
Over stuff.
I think that men should express their emotions, but I don't think that Dean's expressing anger in a healthy way. I think he's expressing anger at the wrong things here, and I don't think that...
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I don't think it was correct for him to have that reaction to Sam saying that.
Yeah, which is a big part of Dean's character. I think, he deals with grief and trauma, so it's something they can keep consistent.
Yeah. They really honestly did a pretty good job of characterizing them as two distinct characters in the first episode, and like...
Agreed.
Capturing who they were, even in like the pilot. It grows a lot over the course of the like seasons, but like they did a good job at laying the groundwork in episode 1.
Yeah, they did.
Dean says no chick flick moments right in that scene, and then we get our first time that Dean calls Sam a bitch and Sam calls him a jerk, which becomes a recurring thing.
Yeah.
Dean gets arrested. He like goes out of the hotel to get food or something, and the motel manager has realized that their credit cards are fake, and he's arrested for credit card fraud. There's a really funny scene with the cop. He's like, the cop asks if Dean has anything that's real because so far everything about him has been fake, and Dean says, my boobs.
His smile after he says that, I freaking
so
die.
Cute.
Oh my god,
so
he's so
proud of himself.
He is proud of himself. Dean is funny, and he is proud of the fact that he's funny.
Good. You get a sticker, Dean.
Yeah. So he gets arrested. The motel room is filled with, like, a bunch of missing people, like 10 missing people, like, articles about them, a bunch of satanic-looking stuff.
The police about that, like, technically, isn't it John's hotel room? Like, wouldn't they see that?
I mean, yeah, but John's not there, and they are, and they're using, like, the same name.
Right.
So, like, John is also
like
fake.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're like, this is weird.
Yeah, it's still super sketchy.
You lied about being the cops, and now you have this, like, a bunch of missing people.
Yeah, and, like, satanic stuff.
And
like,
while you were lying about being
yeah.
cops, you were asking about one of the missing people. You're very incriminating.
Yeah.
Yes.
The cops are understandably concerned.
Yes.
However, people have been going missing, like, literally as long as Sam has been alive.
Yeah.
Before Sam was alive, since Dean was, like, 3 years old. The cops have John's journal, which I assume was in the room, and they just didn't find it yet when they were going through the room. Which allows the cops to correctly guess Dean's name, because in the journal.
And correctly guess that John is a nut job.
Yeah. John has left Dean some coordinates. So Sam is just, like, in the wind still. So he goes to visit Joseph Welch, who is Constance's husband.
He's played by a guy who was on The X-Files. He played a character for a few episodes. He kidnapped Scully, and it was very fun.
I was really impressed by him. He's a good actor. I like
So
him.
is. You need to see him on The X-Files. He does so well.
I love that.
Love that, because I didn't know that. He confirms that John was there a few days earlier, so John was, like, fine a couple of days ago, which tracks with when Dean got that voicemail. And Joseph did, in fact, step out on his wife before she died. And Sam fully explains the woman in white myth that there are women whose partners cheated on them, and they go temporarily insane, and they kill their children, and then that, like, dooms their spirits, and then they, like, have to wander highways killing unfaithful men. Very good. Sam calls in a fake 911 call of shots fired somewhere in the town, and gives Dean time to escape. He picks his handcuff lock with a paper clip. Love to see that.
Love to see it.
As Sam is driving to pick Dean up from his escape, he encounters the woman in white while he's on the phone with Dean. He refuses to take her home, so the car becomes a self-driving car, same as it did on the bridge. Sam says he's never been unfaithful, which is interesting, and then Constance says he will be, and starts digging her hands into Sam's chest, which is, again, what we can assume she did to Tony as well. Troy. I think his name was Troy. I wrote Tony in my notes, but in retrospect, I think it was Troy.
He's a dirtbag anyway. You don't have to go snitch.
Yeah, he was fully ready to cheat on Amy, who's, like, now hanging up missing persons posters for him, so.
Yeah.
Come on, dude.
Dean is somehow here.
I was just
at the house.
Literally. This is a thing I wrote down too. How did he get there?
We can make the assumption that this is, like, okay, if you're Dean, you can assume that he hears Sam on the phone with the woman in white. Like, he knows that that's what's happening. So, it is a logical assumption for Dean to be like, go to the house.
Yeah.
But it feels like the house is a far drive from the rest of town.
It feels in the middle of nowhere, is what it feels like.
And Dean was, like, on foot without a car. And the police are looking for him, so he can't just be, like, openly in the street.
I would just love for like a 5-minute, like, little, I don't know, internet episode or something where Dean just hitches a ride with a ghost and
he's just sprinting down this, like, dirt road. He just sprints the whole way.
It's like a different ghost.
Frantic running.
Kill you.
Like, so fast that the hair gelled hair is just, like, straight back.
The ghost of one of the men who picked her up or something.
It's like,
I got a bone to pick with her.
Anyway, doesn't matter because Dean's here.
Doesn't matter. Anyways, he's there.
But it so matters.
He shoots the ghost, presumably with assault round, but we don't know. It's not explained why Dean shoots the ghost and the ghost goes away.
But I feel like this is the first time we really see them shooting at the ghost, and we learn that works.
Yeah, but we don't learn about salt or iron at this point, so I think they had mentioned salt, like, in the motel scene, but they hadn't mentioned it in relation to bullets at this point. So Dean shoots the ghost and it disappears for a second. Sam uses that as a distraction to drive the car through the house, which Dean is horrified by.
Yes.
The lights start flickering in the house. There's no way that this house is hooked up to the electricity, so that is full-on ghost power. Instead of flicking the lights off, the ghost is flicking the lights on, because there's no way the lights would be on. And And then...
Because, like, if you're gonna murder a couple of idiots, you gotta be able to see.
Clearly. The ghost children of Constance Welch are at the top of the stairs. They are scary.
Very scary.
This is the scariest part of the episode, not even gonna lie, is the ghost children. The rest of the CGI budget was blown here.
Yes.
Where the children ghost grab the parent ghost, and there's like some flickering, melting into a puddle.
Yeah, that death of her, well, like, I don't know, death, disappearance, whatever, was like intense.
Yeah, it was full intense. That the full CGI budget was spent on.
Yeah, that's why they had to only have Dean
marrying Constance. Yeah.
Yeah.
These are good sacrifices to make.
I agree.
That's why they were like really, really pushed for budget on the whole mud situation.
Now they're not in a life or death situation. Dean remembers to be pissed about his car because they're safe. It's the first time we really see that Dean really cares about the car, like, a lot.
I know,